Good morning. This is day 5, and I have a really interesting topic that I want to talk about today. I was on a coaching call yesterday on a Saturday, that's right, and a topic came up that I thought was very relevant, and I know it's been relevant for me, so that means it's probably relevant for others as well. And this was a young guy who comes from a very modest life, still living at home, and this young man is trying to level up. He is trying to take himself to the next evolution of who he is personally, professionally, emotionally, mentally, and he's trying to get better. He aspires to doing bigger things than what he's seen his parents do in their lives. And he was expressing the discontent that he has with how his parents approach him now that he is trying to make changes in his life. And it got me thinking that the assault on our future self, the attack on that future person, is almost always an inside job. And what I mean is that it either comes within us in here in our negative self-talk, or it comes from the people around us. In some cases, the people we love the most, our parents, our spouses, our friends, our relatives. And this is something that actually, in this case, it bothered this young man a lot. And I know from my life that I have several examples of this. And I don't think people do it on purpose. I don't think people do it with negative intent. I think it is just them projecting their own insecurity. It is projecting their fear of how it might make them feel if you achieve what it is you're trying to achieve. And I think ultimately people do it because they want to make themselves feel better. That you trying to level up and become a better person makes them feel uncomfortable. And if you can find a spouse that supports that effort, even if they don't necessarily agree with it, but supports that effort, that is an amazing thing to accomplish in life. And for me, the person you marry, that is by far the most important decision you make in life. I have been lucky that I made a great decision in that regard, and my wife supports everything I do, even if she thinks I'm crazy. But that does not mean that she doesn't always or sometimes say things. And those things sometimes make me question a little bit just for a moment what I'm doing. And then I'm like, fuck that. I'm doing what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do me, and I'm trying to become a better person. And what I think is very important is that you take advice from the people who are where you want to be. So set your standards extremely high. And, the response to this young man on this coaching call was, okay, well, walk me through, your parents are saying negative things to you. Are your parents in perfect physical shape? Are they specimens? Do they take great care of their health? Is their diet on point? The answer was, of course not. No, they're out of shape. They're lazy, etc. Okay. Are they filthy rich? No, they're broke. Okay. Do they give away lots of money? Do they contribute lots of time to causes that are meaningful and fill them with purpose? No, they don't. Okay. So why the fuck are you listening to these people? You may love them, and you can still love them. Some people may have to make a decision whether those people, family or otherwise, belong in their life. And that's a tough decision. I have a rule. I have a zero drama policy, and I cut people out of my life immediately if their energy doesn't align with mine, and I think that they're dragging me down or would like to try to drag me down. I don't tolerate it, but that's for other people to decide. But back to what I hear from my family, and maybe some of you hear this as well. These are things like, oh, you can eat that dessert, or you can eat that carbohydrate. You can eat a slice of pizza every now and then. And my response is, go ahead, but I'm not going to do it because I have standards. I set my standards high and I stick to those standards. Another one is, oh, it's okay to sleep in. It's okay to kind of rest up at one day or a couple days or the weekends or Sunday mornings. It's Sunday morning now. I was up at 5 a.m. I got work done. I got my workout in. I jumped in the ocean. I'm filming a video. It's, almost 10 a.m. and I've accomplished more on my Sunday morning before most people are rolling out of bed because I set that standard. That is the type of person that I am. Now, if I shared all of that with my family, they probably say, you're crazy. Okay, fine. I'm trying to level up my life so much that it's making people uncomfortable. And to me, that's a sign that you're moving in the right direction. Another one I get, don't work so hard. Why do you work so hard? Relevant for what I'm talking about now. I work so hard because I love doing it. I have given myself no plan B. I am going to do this. I'm going to build this brand and I'm going to help lots of people, because the message that I have to bring to people about how to battle their way through some of the most challenging circumstances they've experienced in life, how to turn your pain into your destiny, into your purpose, that is what inspires me. I want to do this. And the more I do it, it seems to compound. I seem to want to do it even more. And so to me, it's not working. This is something that I am convicted. I'm going to do this. And so I just ignore it. I just say, you know what? Fine. You go live your mediocre life. You don't do anything that brings any meaning and purpose to people. You're constantly complaining about money. You're constantly complaining that you work too hard, right? All of these things to me are incongruent. And so I'm not going to listen to that. And it's like, if you want to build a house, you don't ask your tax accountant how to build a house, right? You ask somebody who has built 100 houses exactly the way you want, the way you see your home being built. So why are you taking life advice from someone who's not where you are, or not where you want to be? That's crazy. It would not make sense in any other facet of your life, yet people do it all the time. And they allow these negative talk to seep into their minds and actually influence their behavior. You have to make a hard decision. You have to either cut those people out, or you have to choose to just be stronger and just shake it off, like ignore it. Don't even listen. Don't even respond. That's what I do. I don't even say anything. I just keep moving and I do what I have to do. Another one I get this, I love my father. We have a great relationship. He's, in many ways a person I look up to, but in some ways he's not. In some ways, I go, okay, you're giving me terrible advice. And the thing he says to me all the time is be humble. And I always ask, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, don't push too hard, don't get ahead of yourself, all this other stuff. And I'm like, I have to remind him the definition of humble, and I'm going to read it, is having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. That is like the definition of thinking that you are not important, that your work is not important, that what you dedicate your life and your time to is not important. The decisions you make are not important. And I fundamentally disagree with this. You don't want to be humble. Do you want to be someone who is an arrogant prick? In my opinion, no. But I think those are very different things, right? To approach a situation with humility, to approach a situation where you're not necessarily judging a person, you're just meeting them where they are. To me, that shows a certain level of humility. But the definition that I see is to think lesser of someone, or to think lesser of yourself. And that's just incongruent with what I do. I think the work that I'm doing is very important. I think my story is extremely powerful and is going to help a lot of people. And so if that doesn't make me humble, okay, fine, I'll take that. The other one is okay to take a day off. I get this from my mom, and occasionally I get it from my wife. Most of the time she's like, okay, you're crazy, I get it. But I think, when I hear this from my own parents, it basically, and I look at these people and I'm like, I love you and I'm grateful for everything you've done for me. But at the same time, I don't want to be like you. I don't want to live your life. I want far, far more. I have much higher standards for the life that I want to live and the meaning that I want to contribute to the world. And when my mom says that, I go, okay, well, let's evaluate where this comes from. This is a person who was a stay-at-home mom, dedicated her life to her children, cannot find her purpose in life now that her children have moved on with their own lives and are trying to do things. And so I see this actually a lot in women who decide to make that choice. They hit this point in their life where their children have moved on and they go, well, what am I supposed to do now? And it puts them in this, we'll call it like a midlife crisis. And I think a lot of older men go through something similar. And so I don't take advice from people who I don't want to be like. I look up to a bunch of people whose standards are so high that it would make my family members sick just to hear it, right? So this is what I'm saying. Your future self is under attack by the people who are closest to you. And so it is important that you develop the conviction to power through all of that objection, to power through all of those excuses that you're going to get thrown at you because of all the people who are around you and how insecure they are. And I heard a quote yesterday. It basically was level up, so hard that it makes everyone around you uncomfortable. You want to be that person that walks in the room that is on all levels just firing, and that everyone around you, all of their own insecurities come out because you have leveled up to that point. Some people might interpret that as arrogant. I don't think it is. I think it's about showing conviction and dedication to what it is that drives you in life. And to me, that is a recent thing that I've noticed, that I've stayed convicted throughout, but I never really paid enough attention to it to notice and track like how often this actually happens. And after I had heard that conversation yesterday on this coaching call, I was like, oh my God, that happens to me. I just have the power to ignore it. And so if you're somebody out there who is trying to level up and you are getting objection, you are getting pushback from the people closest to you, do not let that seep into your mind. Do not let that infect your brain and your self-talk. Do not let that change your course. Get up every day and do what you need to do, regardless of how you feel, regardless of how those around you try to influence you. And that will turn you into a fucking savage. Have a great day.